Yay! Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Facebook Live with Dorwest, the leading experts in herbal pet care. We hope you are all well. I'm joining Jo Belton-White, Managing Director. Hi, Jo.
Hello, Sarah. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, actually.
Our first Facebook Live of 2022, so this is good. Yeah, of the new year. If you are watching, please do say hello and pop a comment. Give us a thumbs up so we know that you can hear us and that you're watching. We're going to be live as always for about half an hour or so, answering your questions. We're talking, aren't we, today, Jo, all about sort of winter essentials, so joints, common things that can kind of go wrong or seize up a little bit over the winter period. Pause. So any questions to do with sort of winter essentials? That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, just thought might as well be topical. And I think in these colder months, sometimes things show which you perhaps wouldn't have noticed other times of the year. So like with joint issues, but there's also, pores, cracked pores, and even essential heating. If suddenly your central heating's on quite high, that can cause upset in dog skin and things like that as well. So there's loads of different questions I'm sure come about winter. Oh, absolutely. I think Danielle said hello. Hello, Danielle.
Oh, hi, Danielle. Hi there. Nice to see you. Yeah, please do let us know. Actually, hold on, Danielle, because I think we're going to be answering your questions. We've had a few questions. I didn't recognise the name. So with that, we've got Claudia. Hi, Claudia. Thanks for joining us. So Jo, should we dive into our first question and then we can see if any others come forward. Hopefully they will. So yeah, as Danielle's here, we've got a question. So she asked, I've always used glucosamine for our older dogs, but I have a little rescue who will be 3 in February. So early happy birthday to your dog, Daniela. He has food with glucosamine in, but would adding the supplement benefit him now, especially as he's doing a lot more exercise coming from a home of doing none? So his exercise regime's changing, but he's 3. He's got a bit of glucosamine in his food already. A little bit extra would help.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, it sounds like he's got a lovely life now where it's come from, having no exercise, and I'm sure enjoying lots now. Of course, with the rescue, you wouldn't know the background, so you don't really know how they've been brought up, if they've had good nutrition while they've been growing up from puppies. And also, you don't really know the health and the health lines, from their parents or things like you might know if you bought it from a puppy, of course. So there's a few different things you don't know. So I would definitely recommend, giving the glucosamine and chondroitin, which are our tablets. You say there's a bit of glucosamine in the food, which is always helpful, but it's unlikely probably to be enough to make a real difference to the joints. The glucosamine and chondroitin, I'll give you a little rundown on ours. That's a massive tub because I've got loads of dogs, and loads of older dogs. So that's a 400 size. So our glucosamine and chondroitin tablets have got 400 milligrams of the glucosamine hydrochloride and 200 milligrams of the chondroitin. Now, if people are just wondering, we see these names banned around loads, but what does it actually do? Glucosamine is a really important amino acid, and that actually helps provide the building blocks for cartilage, for the collagen in the cartilage. So your body produces it naturally, and which is great. But obviously, if you are getting older and so there's more wear in the joints, or there's been an accident, or perhaps it's just not very well, the joints aren't very well made, it needs a little bit more. So this is why you give a supplement. And chondroitin, those two work really synergistically, so they're ideal together. And actually, the chondroitin actually it actually stops an enzyme which it degenerates the joints, so degenerates the cartilage. So actually, it will stop the degeneration of it, and the glucosamine helps build it up. So that is why it's brilliant together. They're from ethical sources. They're from shellfish and squid, so that kind of byproducts of those industries. So that's really good as well.
That's really good.
They're not from shark or anything like that. So yeah, definitely, Danielle, I would give that. That will just make sure that you're supporting his joints as much as you can. Like you said, especially as he's doing a lot more exercise than he's ever done before. So And the dosage, sorry, I'll give you quickly for that. It sounds like he's a small dog because you called him a little rescue, unless he's a really big dog. You just like it's just 1 tablet a day of these, and you give a loading dose for around a month to 6 weeks, and then drop down to half, so half a tablet a day then as well. So it's fairly straightforward to give as well. So
I've just seen that Danielle said he was never exercised and his legs were poor when he came to her, so she worries about
okay.
So yeah, exactly what you said. And it's great that the 2 ingredients, it's like a power couple, aren't they? They're sort of
exactly. It's important to have them both together. And obviously, I mean, Danielle, sounds like you've done the right thing. I'm sure you've built it up gradually. So his muscles are now supporting. I expect his tendons are nice and ligaments are healthier. But it will just keep those joints, because the cartilage is what prevents bones rubbing together. It's like the shock absorbers. And then you've got the synovial fluid. And this helps all that cushioning, which is what you need when they're running a lot and jumping a lot and all of those fun things. So
living life to the full. And Daniel saying, I will definitely start him on this with his other supplements. So that's good. And as we've answered your question, Danielle, you will receive that. So I think one of the team will be in touch with you. So you can give it a try and try your dog on that, which will be good.
He's only 8 kilos, she said. Yeah, so it definitely falls under for us, it's small as under 10 kilos. So yeah, that's the dosage.
Excellent. Oh, good. Well, hopefully that's answered your question, Danielle. And do let us know how your dog gets on with those. For anyone joining, hello. Thank you so much for joining another of our Facebook Lives. Good to see you all. We're talking all about winter essentials. So do pop any comments you have, any questions. I'm here with Jo, Managing Director, and we're ready to hear from you, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, any questions? I was just having a quick flick through. I'm not looking vacant. I think Chantel has just added a quick question about, she's got a 7-year-old Whippet. So kind of middle-aged. I always think Whippets are quite long living. Currently on glucosamine and chondroitin, which is ideal. I start from kind of a couple of years before that. Do you think salmon oil or cod liver oil will be beneficial? Not particularly. If he hasn't got any issues, the glucosamine and chondroitin, like I said, are supporting the joints. If you're just thinking of general health, I'd be more looking at something like our Keepers Mix, which is our 8 different herbs, which is in one supplement, or our Keepers Mix Sensitive. And each herb's for a different part of the body. So there's one for joints, one for skin, bit of everything. I mean, if your Whippet does have more joint issues particularly, I mean, it might be an idea then to look at our turmeric tablets, which are brilliant for helping support the body's anti-inflammatory processes. And there's been some amazing studies done on comparing it to conventional NSAIDs, so non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, and on osteoarthritis, and it's come out with some amazing results. So that can be something as well, if anybody's dogs are getting to that point when they need something a bit more as well. So turmeric is brilliant for that. And I will say both those products are actually on offer at 25% off until Monday. I mustn't forget it.
Don't forget, Joints 22 code. Yes, make sure you get in there before Monday. So that's a really good offer to make the most of, definitely. Jo, we had, as I saw Pam here earlier, one from Pam Thornton, a question. Okay. Common, obviously, well, it's not too cold at the minute, but it has been. But so things like the salt and ice on the roads and things. So Pam has asked, with all the salt and ice around at the moment, my dog's paw pads sometimes get dry and cracked. What's the best remedy or supplement to help him?
Oh, bless. Yeah, it's that time of year, isn't it, from this point of view? And you have to be really careful with, like I said, the salt on the pavements and the roads, and the other things like de-icer and things like that on there as well. So be careful. Absolutely. Best thing to do is to rinse them off when they come in, so the salt doesn't stay on the paws or anything else on the paws. And also they don't lick it and ingest loads of salt and things like that. Really, the best thing is a topical, and that is our brilliant the paw and nose balm.
Oh, it's fab. Yeah.
We do a skin one as well. I've got it there, which has got it's a bit more. It's better for like redness and kind of scrapes and things, and it's got a bit more of a smell. Where the paw and nose balm hasn't really got any smell, because we don't want anything stinky going on the nose because it's so sensitive. But it's brilliant. It's really moisturising, all natural ingredients. It's got calendula, marshmallow, chickweed oil, shea butter, and beeswax. So I would just gently rub that in. If they lick it, it's safe. It's not, it's not going to do anything, but just moisturise that in a couple of times a day, and it will just soothe it. And it's brilliant because you get some on your own hands, and I find it so good, like soothing my hands that have gone dry this time of year as well. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I would recommend.
A gift for your dog and a gift for you as well at the same time as you're applying it. It works well. Pam saying that sounds brilliant. Thank you. You're welcome, Pam. Thank you very much for your question. But yeah, like you said, Joe, you've got to be careful giving them a good rinse before so they don't ingest it. So there's so many nasties and things out there at the minute. So
I was just going to say as well, there's loads of questions coming in, and any ones we won't do, our team will do tomorrow, and make sure you will get your question answered and get that advice. So it's just hard to get through them. I did just see one that was I'm going to pop on because it's about something big that's happening in about 5 weeks' time.
Oh, I wonder what that means.
It's all that it's about. So,
it's so good it's coming back. And obviously, Dorwest will be at Crufts this year, all ready to meet you, smiling faces all around. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But so you've got a question from Amanda here.
Yeah, so I've got a Shogun dog qualified for Crufts, so that's great.
Lovely.
Congratulations. Well, brilliant. She can be very nervous and shaking. What can I do here to relax her, please? Yeah, and it's, Crufts is a big deal. It's a big place. It's got a lot of people. The noise is very different to other shows because they're such big halls, and even going in, it's big. So I'm sure you are, Amanda. You've obviously qualified for Crufts, so she's obviously been to shows, so she's obviously been around that environment. So getting her into those sort of places is obviously ideal. But it's definitely a case for our skullcap and valerian tablets, which I'm sure a lot of you know about, they help calm, relax, make them feel a bit more comfortable in the situation they're in. But it's not like a magic pill that's going to stop overnight. I would recommend you're getting her out there to those sort of busier places. It's a bitch. Getting her out to those busier places, and I would start using the skullcap and valerian now if she's generally a bit of a nervous. Sounds like she can be. So she's perhaps a bit of more of a nervous character. Pop her on a daily dose now, and on those days are going to perhaps be more stressful for her, like going to a show or to a busy place. Just increase the dose. You can go up to double the dose on the tub, so you can go up to that when it's going to be bad. Make sure there's a dose in the morning, split them in the morning and in the evening, and do that, and that'll just help her relax, and she'll gain more confidence. Quite often people find they don't have to keep them on permanently, because as they start realizing there's nothing really wrong here, and obviously get her used to having people touching her and all those sort of things, because that's all part of it at Crufts as well and stuff. I just saw someone put skullcap and valerian is a game changer.
Oh, so that's lovely to hear. Thank you. That's lovely feedback.
And it won't sedate, Amanda. If you're worried about sedate, it's not going to sedate. It won't do that. It literally will just kind of bring them from that kind of higher peg of stress, just bring them down. But it is hard once they're really stressed to bring them down. So you want to keep them nice and calm and level, which is why we recommend a course, if you like, to keep them kind of stress hormones lower. The other thing is with bitches is that it depends on their cycle and if they're near coming to season, because that can make them a little bit twitchy at shows as well if they're coming to that season. So that's another thing to consider as well. So
another thing to throw into the mix. But like what you said there, Joe, it's also a bit of like sort of planning ahead, isn't it, rather than just leaving it to the day of the show. Actually the prevention and sort of starting earlier, build her up, and so that when the day comes it's not such a big scary thing. So
that's right. And it's great you're asking now, Amanda, exactly the time. You've got 5 weeks. It's like people asking now about coat and pigmentation, and now's the time. You've got time to improve coats. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks for skin and coat turnover, so it is good. Do it now. I think one of our questions, I think they've just popped it on here as well.
Rachel Harris. Oh, yes, we have. Yes, Rachel. Yes, we'll come to your question now. So, you have a 10-and-a-half-year-old beagle. I'm wondering if that might be your little pup there on your profile picture, and who's starting to slow down a little. Understand what happens to us all. Is there anything I can give her, long term, to help with her mobility and long term health? I also have an 8-year-old beagle. Can I give them both the same supplements?
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely, Rachel. Obviously, starting to slow down a little. I mean, that can just be obviously normal bit of age. It could be that the joints are starting to be a bit stiff. And when we're talking about joints stiff, we all think about elbows and stifles and perhaps wrist joints. But actually, it's the vertebrae in between the spine as well. You know, like the cartilage in between there. If that starts degenerating, the whole spine, and the dog obviously has got a very long spine and as long as his body is using a lot and flexing, you know, when they run. So it's not surprising sometimes older dogs are less willing to really stretch out and run when they're starting to feel a bit stiff. And obviously we don't really know, do we, how much discomfort dogs are in, and that's why it's important to really pay attention to how they're acting as well. But yeah, Rachel, I would definitely have both of yours, if the other one's 8, on glucosamine and chondroitin tablets that we were talking about earlier. No brainer really for me. That will just help support, like I said, the cartilage and those shock absorbers between the joints. And if you're talking about all-round health and just long-term, definitely the Keepers Mix. I think I mentioned it earlier as well. We do our Keepers Mix and our Keepers Mix Sensitive, and they've just got the real power pack full of different herbs for different parts of the body. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that because someone else asked a question about Keepers Mix. And that's what I just give mine. That's our everyday essential. Pop that in their food every day. Just mix it in. And it's just what you need to make sure they're getting everything they need, really. So
you've got all the key herbs in there. I saw that Rachel said, her profile picture is from Phoebe from a long time ago.
Rachel, she's beautiful.
She's gorgeous now as well. But like you say, though, Jo, it's good, isn't it? Different ages, 8 to 10 and a half. It will, great to start.
So. Exactly. And I think a lot of people kind of asking about ages of joint supplements, and I think someone else asked about how old and when you should start. And I think I've had quite a lot of comments. I did an Instagram live the other day and people were saying, I wish I started younger. And I think if you have got a breed that you know is either a big breed, a lot of weight, it's a lot of weight going through the joints, or very active breed that are going to be having obviously more pressure through those joints, working dogs, or breeds that are known with some joint issues, I would just be starting glucosamine from like quite a young age, I wouldn't say from 8 weeks old necessarily, although I know big breed people do, but maybe from a year old, just start supplementing it so you make sure that those joints are supported. Otherwise, people tend to start early, middle age, if you like, whatever you want, say that in 4 or 5 years old, add it in then. But it does depend on your breed very much because they vary so much. And even conditions like luxating patellas, which obviously we can't change, it's a physiological condition where the kneecap's popping out, but it will support that cushioning again underneath it. So you should give glucosamine there and hopefully just keep a bit more comfortable, in quite an uncomfortable condition. So hopefully that makes sense.
Absolutely. And it's worth mentioning for anyone that's coming on. So obviously we've got the offer on at the moment, which ends on Monday. So yes, joints 22. Make sure if you're hoping to try some sort of joint supplements for your dog, now would be a good time to go for it. So
I've just seen Claire Southgate's just popped up a question saying, would Keepers got to whip it too? Would Keepers Mix stop breeze from craving sticky weed?
Oh, sticky weed.
Sticky weed. The sticky weed is commonly known, probably known as cleavers. Spelled in a majority of different ways, and it's got all sorts of odd names, isn't it? And we all know, just to throw it at each other when we're kids. Well, Claire, my dogs have Keepers Mix sensitive every day, and it has got cleavers in it, and mine still love eating sticky weed. And I think it is just because it tastes really nice. I don't think it is a cleanser. I'm convinced though that they just adore it, but it's always particularly when the new kind of sprouts come up, so it's all sweet and small. They love that, and I think to be honest, they enjoy it. It doesn't do them any harm. I make sure they don't eat it on busy. I don't really walk on busy roads, but away it's more on fields and lanes. And yeah, but no, I won't say that it's going to stop them, because they're everything like mine. They just love it, and they've all taught each other. So they all love sticky weed. So I think we've got some great videos.
I like it.
Thanks for the honesty. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Always the best. Always the best. And also Rachel saying thank you both. I'll start them both on the same. It makes it easiest for us too. Brilliant, Rachel. Glad to have been able to. And Amanda also said thank you for answering her query as well earlier, Jo. So that's good. We're happy to answer anyone joining. We're talking all about winter essentials. So joints, skin, paws. Pop them in. If we can't get to you, don't panic, because one of the team from Dorwest will be coming back to you tomorrow. So if you're watching this on replay as well, do add your comments in and your questions. So
there's a lovely little comment here when we were talking about the skull cap and valerian from, I didn't saw from Danielle. Skull cap and valerian changed my mum's little girl's life for the better. She became so anxious after going out and after being attacked multiple times, which is just so awful. The fact the dog's been attacked, but the long-term damage on the dog's confidence is just huge, and your own, because it's awful, isn't it? You just can't imagine. She's on these and now attends a dog walking group and loves it, and that's brilliant, because it's allows her to get out, isn't it, and do that, and then the confidence will come back. So thank you for saying that, Danielle. It's really nice to see.
Love hearing your feedback. Always let the team know, and how it's working for your dog. It's always good to know how it's going. We've got Anita saying, "Oh, cleavers aren't bad to eat." Oh, don't do her. I saw someone else saying that her dog eat. Oh, my old bully loved cleavers.
Okay, yeah, old bully.
She was walking past. Gorgeous pictures of them, Kay. I love an English Bull Terrier. Love them.
And I think it's funny because sometimes you see people drive past and I'm stood there and the dogs are like cows, basically. They're just eating cleavers. But it is really, I mean, like someone else said, cleavers aren't bad to eat. They're not bad to eat. They're full of nutrition, and I really don't think it's an issue. But it is in our keepers mix because it is and ours are all tested as well. For all our herbs we use are tested to make sure they're not contaminated or anything like that as well.
Absolutely. So, you're in safe hands. So we had a question as well in advance. This was from Tess Stammers, Jo, who asked, can you tell me the difference between keepers mix? We were talking about keepers mix a while ago. Difference between keepers mix and then the kelp and seaweed supplement, please. So what's the difference between the two?
Yeah, again, it was a great question, Tess, and that's why we thought we did it, because some people are like, I don't really know. So kelp seaweed is the kelp seaweed powder is literally just kelp seaweed. It's a species of seaweed. It's a dark brown species called Fucus fasciculosus, which is grows in deep seawater, and is one of the richest ones, rich in minerals and vitamins and all sorts of goodness. So it's really it's a great supplement. It's rich in iron and iodine, so it's good for pigment and hair growth. Again, deep sea water is less likely to be polluted, but ours is all tested anyway as well. And that's why when you buy kelp, you need to get it from a decent source, I have to say, because otherwise it can be terrible, because kelp absorbs toxins really easily. So, but the difference is the keepers mix actually has 8 different herbs in it. One of those is kelp, and it's 20% kelp seaweed. So you get that really rich, lovely minerals and all of that from that. But you also have the other herbs, which are for different parts of the body. So, for example, like we say, there's cleavers in it. There's wild yam, there's nettles for the skin, there's celery, which is good for joints. And then we have our keepers mix sensitive as well now, to add another bit of confusion. And that is slightly more aimed at dogs with sensitive palates and sensitive stomachs. So and great for puppies. So we've removed celery and wild yam, which are slightly bitter and also more for joints. And we've used marshmallow, which is wonderful for the stomach, and chamomile, which is calming for like a holistic way. So, so that's the difference. I tend to use kelp seaweed if you really need quick growth of coat, you need pigment, you've got a mineral deficiency, basically. Great for that. I don't tend to feed it in the summer especially if you've got a coated breed, a long coated breed, because it's very rich, it could cause a bit of skin irritation. And if you've got a dog with sensitive skin, I'd avoid it. It can make them a little bit itchy. But Keeper's Mix is really balanced because it's only 20%, so you can feed that all year round with no issues at all. So so that's the main two different. I mean, I do love kelp. In the winter I tend to feed it more, but Keeper's Mix is my go-to because I know it's just really balanced. It's got everything in it, but it does grow good coat. If you need coat quick, kelp powder and Omega Star oil.
Oh yes,
anyone who's going to Crafts who needs coats, that's what I recommend.
Yes, with Crafts coming up, and it's just for those who don't know, yes, Dorwest will be at Crafts this year, so you've only got a couple more weeks to wait. It'd be great to be back out there, won't it? And
it's going to be fantastic. We're so excited. Literally everyone on the team is already it's all we're talking about every day is seeing everyone, because it's obviously been 2 years and we haven't been at any shows in between. And we've got show offers and we've got some giveaways, and we're going to be in our usual place. Anyone that's been to Crufts before, right near the middle, opposite Arden Grange. And we're really pleased that we are sponsoring again as well. So we're sponsoring the event. So yeah, it's going to be fantastic. And it's going to be so good to see everyone and their dogs. We just can't wait. We've missed it so much. So
yeah, it's such a big sort of calendar moment, isn't it? And to be able to actually see people, and after 2 years,
celebration. It's just such a celebration of dogs and from all things, from the show, the agility, the flyball, and I mean, there is not people call it Craftsmas, and it is. That's what it is to dog show people.
Yeah. It really is. All dogs. We've got lots of comments here. Kay Joy saying, "See you at Craft with Ethel the Bully." That's a fantastic name, Ethel. I love the name Ethel. Brilliant. Ethel the Bully. Helen Tress says, "I've missed you. Have missed you at shows." Rachel's giving taps. So it'll be good. So do let the team know if you are going along to Crafts, and make sure you come and say hello to the team as well. So we had another question. This was from at Emma K391. Emma has asked. She has a 7-year-old Dalmatian. Doesn't seem to be showing any joint problems right now, but should she start her dog on joint supplements anyway?
Yeah, and we kind of chose this question, didn't we? Because again, it's a real common one that kind of get asked, and I think I can see why people go, well, why should I? Because he's fine.
She's fine. Yeah.
Stiff and I mean, there is that thought you shouldn't probably wait until they are really stiff or there is an issue. Let's try and look at the preventative side rather than the other side. And at the end of the day, at 7 years old, is probably just past midway in his life, probably, hopefully. So it would be a good time. I would definitely be starting on glucosamine. So on mine, they haven't had an injury or anything like that. I've got whippets, so they run quite a lot of stress. I start them about 4 or 5 years of age. Everyone has it, and that's it. Yeah, and I just think it just makes sure their joint health is as good as it can be. So definitely with a Dally, I would put them on it now. And like I said, so many people saying they wish they'd done it younger, and that's really surprised me the other day when I did the Instagram live. So that's definitely. So just a maintenance dose. It's not a high dose. And
I think especially around the winter time, we all kind of sort of seizing up a bit. It's cold. We're just sort of So your joints might be sort of, or your dog's joints might be sort of feeling it a little bit more when perhaps they haven't in the summertime.
That's it. And definitely things like if your dog is one that's stiff, and even with supplements and things like that, if they're old and they're arthritic, they're still going to feel, like you say, colder, damp days. You can do things if like some sort of coat around some of their joints, because around their shoulders, around their spine, because that does make a difference. You can imagine, if we walk around, we're basically all our joints on show. It does affect it, things like that, and just slowing down the pace of the walk in the cold weather, perhaps not running them unless they're warmed up as well, because that can cause joint injuries. That's quite a big one. And running on hard ground, so don't forget the ground still, even if it looks a bit soft, it can be quite frozen underneath after a period, and that's really hard if they're running flat out on that. Amount of dogs that get injuries and things like that as well. So it's just thinking about all these things, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, the timing of that's such a valid point, especially if they're about to go and have zoomies, to go from zero to nothing and then straight onto hard ground. Really good, really good points. Rachel Harris is saying, I think I need these joint supplements myself. Know the feeling, Rachel.
Oh yes.
Definitely. Well, don't forget that there is code joints22 available until Monday the 31st of January. The team is, if we haven't got to your question tonight, we're sorry, but it's one of the team will be coming back to you tomorrow. So I know you've always got the advisors there, email, phone, always happy to hear from you and to answer any questions. Or Rachel saying you need to do a human range. Well,
well, I need to work on.
exactly. And don't forget that Dorwest will be at Crufts as well. So do make sure you come along. And that half an hour has flown by, Jo.
I know, it's just flown by, isn't it? And keep an eye on our social media as well for kind of pre-crafts things we're doing and let you know what's going on. And even for those that can't make it, we'll have some things for you too. So it's been fab, isn't it? I've really enjoyed it tonight.
It's been lovely. Thank you so much all for joining. Thanks for your questions. And keep warm and snuggled up with your dogs over the winter period, definitely.
We'll see you next time, hopefully.
See you then, guys.
Bye.